Welcome back to the channel, guys, and welcome if you're new here. We're up to part 49 of the emergency storage shed clean out series. Yes, 49 episodes, and it's still in its infancy, I'm afraid. Let's go and have a look. We nearly got ready to move another shelf out of that room. Now, I wasn't even planning to be here this week. I was supposed to be at the farm, and I was going to go yesterday, but we had nearly 4 inches of rain, or about 100 mil in a single day, and all the creeks flooded and the roads are cut. The rivers come up and flooded around here, but nowhere near as bad as it did about 15 months ago, where I did a couple of episodes on what happened out at the caravan park. They did evacuate just yesterday, but it was only a precaution, and the river, I think, has peaked now. The lake's pretty high, but not so bad here. There are some other towns, though, that suffered a bit more. So, yeah, another weird weather event. Anyway, back to the job at hand. Have a look over here. We are just about ready to move this shelf out in the middle of the room here. We have 3 heavy-looking items at the bottom. We'll probably do that army box on the right-hand side today. And over the next couple of weeks, we'll get that shelf out and we'll move on then to some electronic and vintage stuff on this side, and I'm not sure what's in some of the tubs. For those new to the channel, I'm cleaning up this workshop. Well, this is a future addition to my workshop, but it was built in an emergency. We had to move everything from my old shop in a very limited time, and a lot of this stuff has come out of other people's sheds that I've cleaned out over the years, being a second-hand dealer, and a lot of it is a total mystery to me as it is to you. Speaking of mysteries, what's in that army box? Well, the box itself is going to be worth about $20. I'm thinking maybe some old tools. Let's take it into the bench and have a look. Doing the sideways shuffle into my shed. As expected, this box is very heavy. I think the other 2 are heavy as well. So it's any wonder that bottom shelf bowed on the unit out there. Okay, what's in it? Oh, I wonder if we can get our $100 odd, which we seem to get nearly every episode out of here. Well, we're starting with 20, and those latches are tight. Little bit of encouragement. They have not been undone for a long time. Whoa, there's a bit of spring in it too. Okay, the hinges feel a bit seized. Oh, okay, well, some tools and a couple of really nice old pulley hooks. That's awesome. These things sell very well. Some of them can even be branded and quite sought after, especially if they're an Australian foundry brand like Furphy. I will just give these a quick clean to make sure they're not branded. Oh, there might even be a name there, I'm not sure. But I think if these said Furphy, I would probably put them on eBay, and I would expect them to make maybe $100 or so, but I don't know if it is a name. But even so, I think we're going to get about 50 for that hanging up in the shop, but we will give that a clean up. There's another one here, a slightly different sort. Lovely old hook. It's probably blacksmith made. We'll give that a clean up as well. That's probably supposed to have a chain. It's probably the bottom hook for a block and tackle. Not sure on that one. The other one would have been a rope pulley. That's definitely a chain. Probably 25 on that maybe. Okay, we have tools, and very old tools. Here's a really early solid socket. It did actually take a square drive, or you could put a breaker bar through there, probably for wheel nuts on an old truck or a tractor or some farm implement. Unlikely to have a lot of value, but I think we would probably at least put 5 on it, and that's better value than scrap. Here's an unusual piece. It's a speed brace, and it actually has a socket on it. It looks like the socket is probably removable, so I'll see if they can get that off. Yeah. So it's a 1/2 inch drive. It's a little bit... Now it's only got 2 flats and it's round, so it's not a proper, it's not a proper square 1/2 inch drive like your normal socket set. So that socket is obviously meant to go on there. There was probably others available, but I think that's all we've got. Unusual shape, but still works quite well. I'll clean that up as well just to see if there's a brand on it. I would think at least $10, maybe $15, just because it's an unusual early speed brace. Speaking of early, really nice old adjustable wrench here. It will definitely have a brand on it. It says, that's not a brand, it's just something to do with the patents. And there'll probably be a brand on that side. So we'll clean this up with some stainless steel scourer. And that's the only extent I'm going to do. I'm not going to buff them up to be nice polished steel or anything like that. Just so that we can read marks, so that it's not as dirty in the shop. And I think that one, depending if we can find a good brand on it, and it feels like it's actually going to move and adjust, I think that one's at least a $30 wrench. Nice little piece there, little heavy piece. Now, a weird little spanner. I've had one of these before, and they look like a crocodile type spanner, crocodile tooth. It's actually got some threaded sections in the middle, although I suspect, I wonder if someone's actually done that. I don't know that that's original. It almost looks like it's been made up as a puller. So it might be a specialised implement spanner. It has got teeth in the jaws here, so it would actually undo like pliers, but of course you've got no adjustments. So very unusual. I'll clean that up, see if there's any marks on it. Possibly a $10 spanner. Here we have a, looks like a small, not so much a brace, but just a socket driver or something. Very strange, that one. Quite old again, maybe $5 there. This is a standard spark plug spanner. They're made out of a die-cast zinc. They fit a 3/4 inch spark plug. Normally on lawnmowers they were given away with. Some of them actually say Victor. This one will probably just go in the dollar box. The ones that say Victor I normally put $5 on. An early spanner here that looks like it's, I'd probably call that a buggy spanner for undoing the nuts on the large old buggy wheels. Probably unlikely to be branded, that one, but you never know. It's going to be probably $5, maybe $10. An early cast spanner here, and it's got some numbers on it, but it's very crude. And that would certainly be an implement spanner of some kind, and a very early piece at that. Probably 5 to 10, again, just depending how well it cleans up. A smaller spanner here with multiple sizes each end. This would be a bicycle spanner. They usually are branded. Sometimes they just say BSA or another bicycle brand. Can't see a brand on that. Probably just $5 there. Another socket bar here, again with the square 3/4 inch drive in the end, but you can also put a breaker bar through. And again, probably out of a truck wheel nut kit or something like that. So 5, maybe 10. We'll see if there's a mark on it as well. And another one again, and that one's in, that's actually a double-ended hex, and that just has a couple of holes for a breaker bar. It's actually got sizes on it. This one, it's a Litchfield, and it's 1 5/16 AF one end and 1 1/16 the other end, I think. Yeah, that's going to be at least $10. That's a nice piece. A little bit of old leather strapping with a huge dog clip. Probably more for a bear or a lion or something with a clip that size. More likely just horse harness or something there. Interesting little piece. We'd probably just put 5 on that, just because it's a nice piece of old harness that could be hung up in someone's shed. And one more spanner, and it's a beauty. It's nicely branded. It's got something stuck to it. Actually, it's just got number 203 or 208. Might be an 8. And then there's something, I don't know if there was a name under that or not. But what a great large cast spanner. Probably go $15 to $20 on that. Unfortunately, someone's used a hammer on at this end, so it's a bit flattened out. You could file it down, of course, and neaten it up. A nice early spanner this. Whoa, what a great box of early stuff. The box just needs a wash up. It's not in bad condition. It's probably a 1940s World War II era box. They're normally dated, so we'll wash that up as well, and then we'll get back and have a look at all our treasures in a cleaner state than what they are now. And here we go, through the magic of video, everything is spotlessly cleaned up just a mere few seconds later. I did get a tub out under a tree in the yard. It's quite warm out today, and on a little table, and I scrubbed everything up in soapy water, really just using steel wool, well, not steel wool, you know, that coarse stainless steel scouring pad, and that's all I needed to do. I scrubbed a bit harder in some places, and it does show up the writing much better without polishing it. I don't want anything too clean, but it's nice now that it's you know, clean and rustic looking, and you can still read if there's any marks there. So what did we find? Well, no outstanding treasures, but did get a few interesting bits. The the army box cleaned up really well, and it is dated, as you can see right there, 1942. And I put a little bit of lube on the hinges, and it works quite well. I've got it clipped closed again now. It's fairly clean inside. I think we'll go $25 on that. Should sell pretty easily. A lot of these items weren't branded or only had numbers on them. This one, I think, says Z435, and I think it was a Massey Harris implement spanner. So a fairly early one, but yeah, typical. A lot of them are going to be farm machinery type spanners. No brand on that one. This one was interesting, the speed brace. It's nicely branded, and it's USA made, and it says Walden, Worcester, and a patent date of 1918. So a pretty early piece, that one. And this other one is also a Walden brand. Same socket, same type of socket, and that one's got a nice brand somewhere too. Oh yeah, around that side. So they're nice pieces. Early motoring history. They would have probably been a toolkit with a really early car. Couldn't identify what, but I'm going to price them up a little bit. I think I went 20 and 10, something like that. This one cleaned up nicely, and it does work quite well. It adjusts well. It's been a bit bruised around the top end, unfortunately. It's obviously been used as a hammer a bit, and it's got some nasty marks there, but it's still a nice piece. It's USA made as well. I think it was C-O-E, and that's a nice early adjustable wrench. I think I went for 30 on that. I think I'll stick with that price. Couldn't find anything about the number 208 spanner. It would be a machinery implement spanner as well, probably for farming. Couldn't find much out about this one either. It's a bit rough. I think it's actually broken a little bit off the jaw there, unless it was made like that. It's quite rusty. These holes are original, and they're threaded, and it actually has a size next to each of them. So it's interesting that it's got the cut through it, and it's same on the other side. So I'm wondering if they were like a thread chaser die, just to clean up threads on nuts, because the cut through it would leave a sharp edge into the thread, so it would almost re-tap a thread, or at least clean it up. Maybe that's what it was for. Let me know if you've seen one of those before. I've seen a similar type of spanner, but I don't ever remember the holes in the middle. So I think we'll go $10 on that. These large socket tools, I think I went 10 each on those, and I went 20 on the Litchfield. I think Litchfield's an Australian tool company. I had a feeling they were South Australian. Big, heavy sockets though. They're a great piece of kit. No brands on the pulleys, unfortunately, but I'm going to go with 50, and I think I went 20, maybe 30 on that one, because they hang up and they look fantastic, hanging off the old ladders in the shop. So there we go. Let's run through the prices. Adds up pretty quickly when you talk these sort of prices. I think everything just as I told you there, basically $265. So we smashed our $100 estimate out of the park. We've got some really good stock for the shop. I'm not keeping anything at all, which is good for my room in the shed here, and it's good for the levels of stock at the shop, because I've sold a lot of tools and that over Christmas. That one's just going in the dollar box. I didn't even write that one down. So very nice little box to leave my shed and head off to the shop. And that total is going to take us over the $8,000 mark. I did some checking, and we're at $8,205. Based on what I estimate, look, some of the stuff, if it sits in stock for a while, does get discounted, but most of it sells pretty quickly. And sometimes I something I haven't allowed because I've been keeping, I've taken back and sold anyway. So it's a pretty accurate figure of what we've got out of that emergency storage shed so far. Look out for the next episode, another one coming next week. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.